All right, boys, let's run this. How to find your first sales offer, right? I've been traveling for the last 9 months. I was 6 months in Bangkok, and then I was 3 months. I've been 3 months in Bali, right? So in this video, I'm going to show you everything in terms of getting your first sales offer so you can work remote. So you don't want to miss it. I'm dropping some source in this video. So make sure you follow on so we can actually get to the nitty gritty in terms of actually getting you a sales offer, which is going to actually help you work remote, have uncapped earning potentials, location freedom, and probably learn the best skill ever, right? That's going to help you move the needle in like anything in life, especially if you want to make online money, which was like a massive dream for me, which, now we've sort of crossed that chasm, which is awesome. So from zero experience to appointment setting or closing deals online, right? Because I literally had no experience. I was in construction, right? To then getting on like a really good sales offer. So I'm going to run you through everything in this video. Let's hit it. So why remote sales, right? You don't need any degree, right? In my opinion, if you're not looking to become a doctor, a therapist, a surgeon, a astronaut, whatever, something that's really like going to require education, and you're very like lost, or you come out of school not knowing what to do, and you don't like, let's say you come out of school and you say, I want to be a doctor. That's it. And you are sold on a doctor. And that's all you wanted to be for your whole life. Go to university. Go to college. Whatever you need to get the necessary skills to become that. Because that's your dream, right? And I'm all about chasing dreams. I chase my dreams constantly. That's how it should be. However, if you come out of school and you're just lost and like your parents have told you, hey, go to university or go to college, that's what you need to do. That's what the normal people do, right? You do not want to go there because you're going to put yourself in massive debt, not have any money, and be learning this skill that you don't even know if you want to do, right? You're young. There's so many different options. That's if you're in that stage of your life. You could be a little bit older right now watching this, and you just want to like get out of your job, or you've been in a certain position for so long and you're sick of it, or you want to move remote. You've actually got that location freedom. It's a high income potential, right? Depending on the offer you get, you can make anywhere from like 3K to 5 to 10, 15, 20 to even 30K. I know people in my network who are doing like 40K a month closing, right? So that there is a cap to it, but it's like, 30, 40K a month, you can live a very, very, very good life, right? And you're learning probably one of the best skills in the world, right? The skill's going to literally last you a lifetime. You're going to gain real skills like communication. It's going to increase your confidence. You're going to speak better, speak clearer. You're going to be able to elaborate situations, words a lot better than just working like a normal 9 to 5 job, because you're actually learning the skill of language and conversation and tonalities, leaning in, leaning out, challenging people, understanding what people mean when they say something. So it's a skill that you want to learn. And that's why I feel like as a youngin, someone trying to get into online business is a fundamental that you need, because you could skip it, go into like drop shipping or whatnot. However, you don't know how to sell anymore. Not that you can't learn, but it's still going to teach you so much about, psychology and why people buy, the pains and pleasures, desires, why people actually want things in life, why people make decisions from a simple decision of like, taking a sip of water. Right? The pain of like the thirst in the back of your throat is making you take a sip of water. Buying a pen, right? You may get some knowledgeable information and you can't remember it. So the pain of you not remembering it now makes you want to buy a pen so you can actually write it down. It could be like a code for your phone, whatnot. It could be anything, right? Like, I don't have anything much more in front of me, but it could be like a toothbrush, for example, and toothpaste. The pain in that is like you could have bad breath. You want to go see a girl and go for a date. However, she not might like you because you got bad breath. So the pain in you feeling that way is going to make you buy a toothbrush. Another example, and these are like very mediocre situations in life, but I like to bring them up because it's like daily things. If you can think of anything you do, any decision you make is like usually caused by pain. Washing a car, you could buy a car, put a lot of money into it, and then the pain of you seeing it dirty because you work so hard to get the money to buy that car is now going to cause you to wash it. Or it could be a status thing. People are going to see you with a dirty car, which is going to lower your status, which you don't want. So you wash it so the car looks good, so it ups your status as a person. There's like so many psychological reasons and like why people do things in life, and you don't learn that until you get into like sales and you learn like psychology and the human needs of actually people, right? So that's why I feel like high ticket sales is very important, because once you understand your mind and why you do things, it's like you can control not only yourself, but you can understand situations and why people do things, which is like honestly a superpower. You're seeing through the fucking matrix. Cool. My reality before, I worked a construction job, not loving life. I was fucking uncontent. I felt stuck and I needed to make a change, right? And I'm going to break down the story on how I actually made that transition, because it was a bit of a rough one. No online income, no skill sets, couldn't help people. Envy watching others online. I'd scroll on TikTok in my bed after a big day of work, and I was like, fuck, I need to do something here, right? Like, I need to make a change in my life, because like what I'm doing isn't satisfying me as a man. I'm not living up to my potential, which pissed me off. I felt stuck. I didn't know what to do, right? And I tried many different ways to make money online, and I'll get into that in a second. But the turning point, I discovered remote sales through getting sold a dropshipping course. Yes. The guy who sold it to me, he made me discover high ticket sales and kept in contact with that rep. So basically I had this call. I remember it very clear. Had this call. The guy ended up pitching me. I didn't buy. 2 days later, I was at work having a shit day. I messaged him because I added him on Instagram and I said, hey bro, I want to buy. He's like, yeah, okay, no worries. Sent me the payment link. I paid it. And I had him on Instagram ever since. Didn't speak to him for like 6 months, 9 months, whatever. And nothing really changed until a situation down the track, which I will get into. So keep watching it along. But I was looking out on the internet and I saw people closing like 2K deals from the laptop. He closed me. I saw online sales like was the best skill to learn. I realized that it's a learnable skill and it's going to serve me in any way, boys, right? So what I actually did, and before I actually joined this network, which I'll get into a sec, I had a marketing friend, right, who basically I called just out of like, just randomly. I just saw him on the internet, and I told him that I wanted to get remote sales, and I become friends with him through the actual dropshipping course because he was helping me with it, and actually launching my store. And what actually happened is he had a client for his marketing agency, and he knew that I wanted to get a remote sales. That client asked that guy that he needed a sales rep, so he messaged me and said, hey bro, do you want to jump on this guy's offer, get into sales? I was like, yeah, 100%, right? Now, I didn't know anything about high ticket sales. So what I did, the first thing, I messaged that guy that sold me the dropshipping course like a year later. And I actually told him, hey bro, can you coach me? And I'll give you like a split percentage of this course. And we ended up jumping on that, running it for like a month or two. It got my foot in the door, didn't make any money. And then I made the decision that, hey, the end of that year, I'm going to quit my job. And I only wanted to quit my job because that guy, who was like a 20, 30K a month closer, told me, hey, for you to make any change in your life, you need to quit your job. So I decided to quit the job, right? And at the end of the year, I went fully into high ticket sales. I brought into a network, right, which was not cheap at all. And I probably don't recommend doing that if you're trying, like, I do recommend buying into a network, so important, but I recommend like getting direct access to someone who is into high ticket sales. So what I did is I joined that network. There were people in there who were doing high ticket sales. I messaged all of them, and basically what happened is that guy sent me through an agency. So I just sort of told that story there. I basically watched heaps of sales videos and I invested into like mentorship to get help in sales. And yeah, basically that agency that guy sent, I got introduced to a sales manager. And that sales manager then gave me a few offers that were pretty rough, not gonna lie. He gave me a good closing one, but I wasn't skillful enough. But then I called him and he messaged me and said, hey, I got another offer. He sent that to me. Essentially, I ended up landing that offer. And the funny thing was, when I landed that offer, it was my first week in Thailand, right? And I just took the risk. I said, I'm going to Thailand. I'm going to live there. I'm going to work it out. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to work it out. I ended up landing that role that week I got to Thailand, which is crazy. So all the stars aligned. But what I was doing at the very start, I was reaching out to companies through LinkedIn. Didn't have much luck. Took rejection like a champ. Through that 3-4 month period, I didn't get on some sales offers. Wasn't skillful enough. I was cold calling. Didn't have the experience. But I just kept pushing on, right? And that's why I said it was a little bit of a rough journey into it. But I ended up building a lot of connections through that network, which helped me. So the breakthrough. I sent a ton of guys DMs, put my name out there, and finally got sent a lead from a big offer owner. Hopped on an interview 2 days later, landed the role the week I got to Thailand. I showed him I was super coachable. Got my first remote role as a setter, built the skills I needed, then moved down to closing, which is pretty cool. And I was on that offer for 9 months. So that's how I broke the barrier, and that's what I like to call it, breaking the barrier, right? And for you to break the barrier, you could do it a lot simpler way, and do it in a way that's going to be a lot quicker than what I did, because I had no guidance, no experience, and now you've got this video because I've been through that whole process. So what you need to do to land your first sales role, you need to join a network of people, or basically join programs, invest in mentors, find groups who are in that online space. Because to put it this way, when I was doing construction, I was only around construction workers. And the problem was, I have Billy Joe down the road here, who's 40 years old. I look at him, I'm 23, 24, and this guy is on the same wage as me, breaking his back just like me. So I was literally looking at my future self, my life, where it was headed. And I said, fuck this. This is not going to get me anywhere I actually want. And I know changes have to be made. I have to go all in, right? That's why I joined the networks. And that's why it's so important to join networks. And I also joined a coaching program as well, where I had access to people who were in the space. Because that's what you need to surround yourself with. You need to, there's no point trying to be a fucking lion when you're hanging around with a bunch of chickens. It just doesn't work. If you're trying to be a lion and trying to soar like an eagle, but you're hanging with a bunch of ducks, it's how do you expect to get across the barrier? Because what's going to happen is when you go off and you try soar like an eagle and something doesn't work and you come back to the ground, these ducks are going to be back around you. So you need to be able to soar like an eagle, have other eagles by your side, and when something gets rough, they're like, nah, bruh, let's continue. Let's keep pushing. Let's keep flying. The wings ain't stopping here. They're flapping till we die, right? And that's how you continue your trajectory to the place you want to get to. You need people around you who are on the same path and who are driven, individuals. And that's how you get that, being in a network, joining programs, investing in mentors. And it's funny, the people who are just totally 9 to 5 is in the fucking matrix, they don't think about investing into mentors. They think it's a scam or something like that. It's put it this way, imagine someone put years of their life into a skill, right? And they've just packaged everything together to teach someone. Years of their life. Why wouldn't they charge for that? It's not a scam. There is probably some shitty courses out there and whatnot, but there's some really good mentors and network groups out there who are really going to help you. And that's the mindset shift you have to have. Because when I was in construction, I was holding on to all my money. I wouldn't let it go. Obviously I did. I did a dropshipping course, but I should have been smarter with how I invested my money and invested it into stuff that I knew that, I wanted to 100% go down. And, put my energy and my money into stuff like a one-on-one mentor or a mentorship group off the bat, instead of going through some program doesn't care about you, right? Other ways you can find roles is DMs. Look, it's, everyone does it, so you're competing. Not saying it doesn't work. Of course DMs work, it's hitting their inbox, but the chances of them replying and actually taking you on board is very small. YouTube email outreach. So if you go on YouTube and you find big creators or businesses that emails, you can reach out and put a very tangible email to them and send that off. LinkedIn, this is what I did at the very start. You're going to find very low value offers on LinkedIn. Wouldn't recommend it. However, if you're super desperate, there's no other way, you can do LinkedIn, and you may find some pretty shitty, sales gigs in my opinion, but it will get your foot in the door. You can get some reps in, you can get the experience, get that confidence you need to build up to be on the phones, and then use that as a stepping stone to get into a better offer, right? ChatGPT. So find a niche you want to target and get on ChatGPT to run a list. So what you can do is you can find a business, get all the details of the business, the email, the website, the copy on the website, and ask ChatGPT and put it in ChatGPT and say, send me 50 businesses in this niche and send me their emails. Like scrape the internet. It's gonna find you all these different big businesses and whatnot that you can email, and then you can start emailing away, right? Chances of you landing a role probably a lot smaller than most. However, it still does work. You're still outreaching. There's no reason that it won't work. People do check their inboxes. Okay. Agencies is another one. That's how I got my foot in the door, through an agency, through a connection, and was just super hungry and wanted it. And that's what sort of broke the barrier and got me into the space. And I probably won't leave the space. What I mean by that is, like, I will never leave the online space. I'll never go back to a normal job. Once you raise your standards in life, you don't go back to that standard. And in the meantime, we've built the Inner Wi-Fi network. So the Inner Wi-Fi is a network of guys, entrepreneurs, people wanting to build wealth, grow as people, become the best version of themselves, a brotherhood, where we help people not only break the online space, but help high-level entrepreneurs actually connect, do business together, and push them to the next level too. We've got the Inner Wi-Fi and the Inner Wi-Fi Elites. So if you do want to network, there's like over 120 members now of people who are in high-ticket sales, setting, run their agencies, marketing, content, a bunch of different industries. There's weekly calls on sales, on mentality, accountability, everything you basically need as a starting like entrepreneur, or even a experienced entrepreneur, because we've got the we've got the Inner Wi-Fi Elites. You can basically reach out. I've got a Calendly down below where we can have a chat, see if we can help. Or you can basically reach out to me on Instagram. We can have a chat. At least that way we can get you popping, get you moving, right? Get your first sales role, or if you're an entrepreneur, basically get you in the Elites group, which will be fantastic for you as well, which is people only making over 10 grand a month. So I hope you boys enjoyed. Hope you enjoyed the story. If you need anything, drop a comment down below, send me a message on Instagram, and let's crush.